time, right? 40 minutes?
45 minutes, yeah.
45.
Yeah. Okay, I think we are going to get started. Let me adjust this. Welcome everyone to this session about the Wikipedia Library. Thank you. So the title of this talk was Free Reliable Sources. I'm going to show you how to get access to those by using this project called the Wikipedia Library that we've been working on for, I think, 10 years now, I think is how long this has been running. So we have 3 speakers, or maybe 2.5 speakers. Vipin is joining us remotely. He's going to be here for the Q&A, but just Martin and I are presenting. So I'm Sam. I'm a senior product manager at the Wikimedia Foundation. I've been working on the Wikipedia library for about 7 years now. So I actually joined the foundation to work on, having used it as an editor before that. And I'm joined by Martin, who's a project manager at Wikimedia Deutschland, who's been working with us to help get some German language partnerships in the library. And so he's going to be talking a bit about that towards the end. Vipin is our partnerships manager. He is now responsible for all the partnerships that go into building up the Wikipedia library into all the collections that it has. So I'm going to give a bit of an overview about what the Wikipedia library is, if you're not familiar, how it works. I'm going to do a quick demo, which I have my fingers crossed for, but I think it will work. Just showing you, how the interface works, how you can use it, some tips and tricks. And then Martin is going to talk a little bit about how affiliates and user groups can get involved in the library and help their local communities to get the most out of it. And then obviously time for questions and answers. So, as I'm sure many of you know, the basis of Wikipedia articles and many of our other Wikimedia projects is reliable sources. We only add content to projects like Wikipedia if that information is already present in a reliable source. That ensures that we can make sure that those projects are reliable and trustworthy and contain the breadth of information that is out there about a subject. And that's great. That's how those projects have become so reliable and trusted in the wider world. But if you've been doing that work, you'll have found that, unfortunately, sometimes you go to access some lovely source that you really want to read and summarize on Wikipedia, and you're presented with a beautiful screen like this that tells you need to spend $49 to download the PDF, just this one, and you might read it and decide you actually don't even need it, which would be a real waste of money. And so that's really frustrating. This is the problem that the library really is trying to solve. So if you go through the Wikipedia library, you can get access to that PDF that I was just showing, read it, figure out if it's useful to you, and then cite it on Wikipedia if it is. So the Wikipedia library is a tool. It's hosted on Foundation Labs, so you can get access to it at this URL. I'm going to show you what's there in a minute, but if you want to jump in and start checking it out, that's the URL. And we've got access from a whole host of publishers, ranging from some of the biggest sort of international publishers of academic books, Oxford University Press, Cambridge University Press, Elsevier, Wiley, Springer Nature, lots of scientific databases, also lots of newspapers, magazines, archives, some really quite niche databases. There's quite a breadth of stuff there, quite a breadth of language coverage, not as much as we'd hope, I'll talk about that, but really a lot of content that we think is pretty useful. So to use the library, there is some minimum criteria. You can't just register a Wikipedia account for free, not make any edits, and get access to the library. I know this is frustrating, but ultimately it was the only way we could convince publishers to be involved in the library and provide this access for free. The minimum criteria are 500 edits, 6 months since your account was created. You need to have made 10 edits in the last month, so you need to kind of be active. You can't just get access and then stop editing. And we do require no active blocks on any Wikimedia projects, but that's flexible. We know that sometimes you get these spurious blocks for reasons that have nothing to do with your sort of trustworthiness on the projects. And so if you have been blocked somewhere, you can email us, and we'll potentially whitelist that if it was sort of a trivial block somewhere. When you cross that threshold for access, you'll get a notification on Wikipedia. It looks like this. It says, congratulations, you're now eligible for the Wikipedia library. And if you click it, it will take you straight through to that URL that I showed you before. So you'll end up on this homepage, which has the criteria, has a brief description of the library, and then you log in via Wikipedia. So you don't need to make some new account on the library. You just log in with OAuth using your Wikipedia account. As for what's behind there, I'm now going to hopefully demo the library. Let me just come up here. Okay, let me go full screen. Where is the full screen? Full screen. Is that big enough? That's relatively big.
Bookmarks.
Yes, I have a lot of bookmarks. Okay, I'm going to hide those. All right. So if you, once you've ended up at the library, click Login. You'll be sent to Wikipedia to log in. If you're already logged in, this might just skip straight past this step, and you'll end up straight back at the library. But once you're logged in, you should be authenticated. If you meet all those criteria, you'll sail on through. If not, you'll get told exactly why you don't meet the criteria at the moment. And this is the view you'll get when you first arrive at the library. You're in what we call kind of My Library, so this is all the content that's available to you. The first tab that you start in is called My Collections, and anything that you see here in this My Collections tab, you can get access to right away. No further questions, don't need to do anything else, don't need to ask us for anything. You can just start accessing this content. So, for example...
Depends what is available. Not everything is... So, I don't know if you wanted to say that anyway, but not all these publishers have everything available. So sometimes you need to read through the descriptions if the topics you're interested in are covered in the free access. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I actually wasn't going to mention that, so thanks for bringing it up. There is a source of some confusion, so I appreciate it. Yeah, sometimes these publishers have provided us access to like a collection or some subset of their collections. The common one is we often have access to journals from some of the scientific publishers, but not their ebooks. For logistical or legal reasons, they end up not being able to give us access to the books. We are constantly asking them, but unfortunately sometimes it's just not possible. So if you see something in this My Collections tab that you want to access, you can go ahead and start accessing it. So for example, AAAS, this first one, you'll see this Access Collection button. If you click that, it'll open a new tab for you to view that content. And you'll end up through, let me zoom in, on the website. You'll often see something like, up in the corner here, brought to you by the Wikipedia Library, or it might say Wikimedia Foundation or Wikipedia. If you see something like that, then everything's worked. You should be able to get access to that content. You'll notice that the URL is a little strange. I'll come back to this. But you'll see something like Wikipedia Library in the URL. And now from here, you should be able to kind of click through to any of the content that you want to access.
I got a call from Butch. Can I go there?
Hmm?
I got a call from Butch.
You got a call. Okay, please disappear behind the door. Okay, so anything in My Collections you can access. And that is most of the content in the library, actually. A majority of what we have available in the library is just immediately accessible to anyone who wants to use it. There's a second tab, which is Available Collections. This is content that we do have available, but there's a limited number of seats. So, for example, I don't know if Bio1 is a good example. We only have 50 available accesses to provide to editors because of the agreement we have with that publisher. And so we require you to file an application to get access to that content. To do that, it's as simple as clicking this Apply button here. And we might have a couple of questions for you. Why do you want to access the resource? In this case, we also want to know how long you want access for, because we can just provide you access for a month if you just want to get access to one source, or give you access for a whole year if you know that's going to be useful to you throughout. We ask you why you want to access, just because if we get a lot of applications for one publisher, we're going to prioritize people who have a strong need for that resource. Maybe they edit a lot of articles in that topic area, or some other reason. So we'll try and prioritize. But for the most part, we have enough content, enough accesses that we can give access to everyone that applies. Once you have applied, basically the rest of the application process will come to you via email. So you'll receive emails if your application gets approved or denied, or if we have questions about it. And once you have access, you'll get an email explaining how you then go and access the content. Some of the collections in Available Collections are accessed in the same way as My Collections, where it will route you straight through to the website via our proxy server. With others, it's like a voucher code or like an individual login. There's a few different ways it works. But as I say, you'll get an email that hopefully explains clearly like all the steps you need to go through. You can always view the status of your applications with this View My Applications button up in the top right here. I don't have any right now, but they would be listed there if I did, and it'll show you the status of those and any pending questions you have. So going through those publishers individually is helpful if you know exactly which publisher you want access to. So for example, if I know that I want something from Science Journal, I can just go straight to that website. But oftentimes you don't know what publisher has the content you need. Maybe you're writing about Singapore, and then I don't know which publisher has content about Singapore, right? So for that kind of query, there is a search bar at the top of the page. And you can just type in the sort of subject that you're researching at the moment. So if I type in Singapore and click search, again, this will open a new tab for me. And this search will browse across all of the collections which are available by default. So everything in that My Collections tab, or almost everything, this will search across all of those collections. And so from here, I can see content that's pulling from a wide variety of sources. And I can click PDF full text on any of these, and it's going to take me through to the relevant PDF. So if you're not sure which publisher it is that you actually need access to, and you're just researching a topic, that's a good way to find the content that you're after. I won't go through everything in this interface because, frankly, there's a lot. But there's a lot of customization options here for doing advanced searches or filters, date ranges, formats, databases, that sort of thing. There's quite a lot you can dig into here to really like refine that search and find the source that you're interested in. A couple of other things I'll mention. You can favorite sources. So if you know that, for example, Annual Reviews has a lot of content that you need on the regular, and you don't want to have to like bookmark the URL or anything, you can use these little stars here to favorite that collection. That means that next time you come to the library, we will take you to your favorites tab, and you can see your favorite collections here and quickly get to the ones that you use regularly. We also have a few filters down the left-hand side. So there's like 72 collections. That's quite a lot for you to kind of scroll down this page and find specifically what you need. So there's some filters on the left here for language. So you can find content that is just in a particular language, for example. And you can also search by topic. Topic is a little odd, so I'm just going to show you how that works. We have this range of topics here. Quite specific: art, history, education, music. If you filter for one of those, you will find that there's actually quite a lot of collections that still show up, because many of these publishers publish across a very wide range of topics. And so rather than list every topic that they possibly might have content in, we also have this multidisciplinary tab. So if I search for music, I'll find anything that has the music tag on it, but also all of the multidisciplinary publishers, because we assume they probably have something about that topic in their collections. There's a few other filters. I mentioned that the search bar at the top will search through all of these publishers. It will only search through the ones that have this little magnifying glass up in the top corner. So Brill, for example, we haven't been able to integrate with that search tool. So if you've searched in that search bar and not found something, you may want to come down here and filter just for the not searchable or also partially searchable collections. And you might then want to go into these publishers to see if they have content on the topic you're interested in, because they wouldn't have come up through the search. And then there's a little free text search down here, so you can, if you know, for example, that you want newspapers, we don't actually have a filter for that by default, so you can type in newspapers and find a publisher that has newspapers in the description. The very last thing I want to show you here is the suggest page. So if we don't have some content that you want access to, and there's plenty that Wikimedia communities want access to that we don't have yet, then you can head over to this suggest page and you can fill out this form and let us know what it is. Please do have a quick browse through the suggest page. It's very long. There's a lot of suggestions. There's a lot that we have not been able to get access to. And if you find the thing that you were going to put on here, you can always click this little upvote button to let us know that you also want that. And that really helps us prioritize this. So when we're going through our partnerships workflow and trying to figure out which publishers do we pitch, who do we try and involve in the program, this is our first stop. We come here and we figure out what are the top requests here. Those are the ones we're going to prioritize. So that really is a genuinely helpful process. I think that's all I'm going to show on the demo. Before I move back to the slides, I wonder, and while I still got the library up here, it might be a sensible time to pause to see if anyone has any questions about how the library works, so that I can kind of demo it before I go back to slides. There's a mic there, or I guess maybe Martin, I can enlist you to run around the room with a mic. If not, I will crack on. Okay. Great. I can always come back to that if folks have questions. So before I hand over to Martin, the last thing I wanted to provide some context on was how the partnerships work. So I've said the word partnerships quite a lot, not subscriptions, not things that we're paying for, because we actually don't pay for any of these subscriptions. It would cost us, I think I did the back of the envelope math once, like more than the entire foundation's budget to subscribe to these databases for the number of Wikipedia editors that there are in the world. It would really not be a sustainable program if we did. But thankfully, we're able to go to these publishers and convince them that it's in their best interests, as well as ours, to help us with free access. So they provide this access for free, which is why it can sometimes take a very long time to get those publishers in the library, because we have to go through pretty lengthy discussions and debates and details about how this would all work. But ultimately, they do see some benefit from their side. It's not. It's an argument I wish we didn't have to make, but the publishers ultimately are going to see more links to their content being added as more editors cite their work, and that's beneficial to them. That's just a fact of how Wikipedia works. And then on our side, obviously, the benefit is that you all get to use the library. So that's the kind of argument we make, and it generally works. We can generally get access to these publishers. Some take a very long time to come around and say yes, so that's why there's that long backlog. So it can take a long time, so if you request something, don't be disheartened that we don't get it immediately. Sometimes it'll just take a very long time, and eventually we get there. And lastly, we're looking for organizations that publish reliable content that is at least partially paywalled. So there are a whole host of potentially paywalled content online that we maybe wouldn't want to add to the library because it's not considered reliable by various communities. And there's also plenty of reliable content online that is open access, that's free. We've decided not to include that in the library because we're trying to sort of scope the tool to just be how you get access to that paywalled content. There are many other venues online for finding that open access content. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm going to hand it over to Martin now to talk about how affiliates and user groups can kind of help out with the library, because we've had a pretty nice collaboration for a couple of years now, and it's been working really well for, I think, the German Wikipedia.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I wanted to do my own introduction now. I see the excitement here in everyone who, I want to check that out. I want to see if my publisher is there. I want to improve my editing, etc. But for those who joined my most recent session an hour ago about multipliers, maybe some of you are also thinking about, wow, that could be also helpful to my peeps, my community, my user group, and such. How can I make this aware to them? How can I work on the platform? What can I do as a community member to talk about the Wikipedia library? And we at Wikimedia Deutschland knew about the library whiles ago, and we're always like, can we support that? Should we not? Who knows? Should we do our own platform, etc.? And back in end of 2020, we decided to work on support on the Wikipedia library. We reached out to Foundation and went all the steps, more or less, that I'm showing you here now. It's a 4-step system to get the most out of the Wikipedia library. And the first one is something you can most easily do. I've called it translations. So the platform that was shown to you by Sam in English is translatable. And if you go to the platform and change the settings to German, you will see that it's 100% translated. So this is something we did. And that's something I think all of you who speak English and another language can also do for your community. Besides the platform itself, there are a couple of help pages, information pages and such, which are available in English and other languages. So the one entry point is the MetaWiki project page. And of course, that's also translatable via the MediaWiki Translate extension. Of course, not only the project page, but also the sub-pages that are linked there. Or even you have a page on your own wiki. Sam, thankfully, together, I think, with Vipin, is creating a wonderful newsletter about the last 2 months and what happened to publishers or on the platform. For example, the upvoting and suggestions was the most recent implementation, and I think it's in the new newsletter, right? Yeah, fantastic. And we take the time at Wikimedia Deutschland to translate this newsletter into German. And those who have signed up, like on German Wikipedia, for example, they will get it in German language then. Yeah. And a little extra information, of course, don't forget to add this newsletter also to your local village pump so that your community is notified about the news around the Wikipedia library. Next step. What else did we do? So we created an own project page. Of course, the meta project page is fantastic, but maybe not the way we would probably do the page in German Wikipedia, where we want to add some additional information, add contacts, or other places where to add suggestions, etc. So we created our own local project page, not shown here on this screenshot. Next one. Beyond that, and I don't know how you felt when you saw the demo, there's so many partners now. I think on the first thing it's like 90s, now it's 105. So it's really increasing the number of partners dramatically over the last couple of months. And it's not so easy to find the right places there. So what we did at Wikimedia Deutschland was to create a table that is connected to the category system of German Wikipedia. So, and I went through all the partners and tried through all the descriptions and tried to open all the links on the platform to see what content is actually there or can be accessed and which would fit to local community projects. Next slide. So this was the first step of connecting the publishers and their content with the working system on the local project. Yeah, and of course, after we have completed this table, we reached out to all the wiki projects and portals and such, and made them aware, hey, there is something about chemistry on the Wikipedia library. Did you know? These are the partners you could be interested in. Check out these and the other partners. And we did that for all the wiki projects we could find or identify that could make use out of the Wikipedia library. Beyond that, we also advertised the Wikipedia library in our local signpost called Kurier. We offered video calls, our community forum. We talked about that at our annual conferences, the German WikiCon. So spread the word, more or less. That's what I want to suggest here. Do it one or the other way. Maybe you'll find another one. Please share. Next one is, so not everything was at the same time, more or less. So some things were at the same time. So we started with establishing the partnership before we did all the other steps because we knew we want to do more. And yeah, establish a partnership means talk to him and see how else you can support Wikimedia Foundation in handling the Wikipedia library. So we decided to set up a call once in a while. So we did it on a monthly basis. Maybe it fits to you to do that once a quarter to get more news, to talk about topics your community is currently interested in and hear from Foundation. what they are currently doing and maybe haven't yet included into the newsletter. This is not it's just one way. So sometimes Foundation also asks us, hey, we have a new feature. Could you test that? Or could you give feedback on something we are doing? Like research was done and we could give some feedback on that. And I think this is a helpful thing to go this step if you have the capacity to do that. Of course, here I want to provide you some ideas what you can do with the resources you have. We used our own project page, the talk page also to gather bug reports, because I think you didn't mention them. Sometimes partners have problems with delivering content. And of course, you can always reach out to him or go to Fabricator if you know what Fabricator is. But if you have an entry point like the local project page, it really makes sense also to make your community aware that you can also report bugs there. And we forward them to Foundation, or we ping you, or translate that into English. What was reported there, I think that really makes sense. Also about suggestions and feedback, you can use the talk pages, of course, for new partners and such. Last but not least, this is all a bit meta, right? There are some people who say, why just the partners there? I want to do more. I want to go to the partners. And that's what we wanted to do from the start, and of course got a lot of feedback how to do that best, and tried out what works for us. Of course, things can be very different in your communities, so go the way that fits best to your needs. These are the things we were doing here in Germany, and with the partnership we established with Foundation, we took over some of the partners that are based in Germany and became their official contact. So we are taking a bit the load of handling the partners from Foundation, and are now contacts for partners in our region. And for some of them, we also assign access to community members. So if you want to get access to the German newspaper site online, you don't have to bother one of the volunteers who helps out or contractors who manage the platform, but it will be me who assigns the right there. What I like the most is to talk to partners. So we went to Frankfurt Book Fair, for example, last year, and we'll definitely go this year again. And we talked to partners, and I introduced the Wikipedia Library to a couple of partners. I saw many names there that are already on board, but some who weren't. And of course, we introduced them to the platform itself and the backgrounds. We did that at the book fair, but of course we also created a list of possible e-libraries that would fit to community or are even requested by community, suggested. What is it? Right? Yeah. And then we start to talk, and we explain the different models. You have seen the direct access model, there's a token model, etc. So it's like preparing the collaboration that is usually handled by Wikimedia Foundation to a point where Foundation will step in and then do all the contract work. So the Foundation has a memorandum of understanding contracts with them, which parts of their collection will be opened, etc. And these sometimes can be informally, or they use an official contract, like the MOU. And you can help prepare that you can advise the partners to find the right way how to open their content for the Wikipedia library for free. And yeah, last but not least, something that is shown here on the right. For example, we used at Frankfurt Book Fair a one-pager with a description of what's going on around the Wikipedia library. And we had that only available in German, and I realized that there are so many partners at Frankfurt Book Fair who only speak English that we now have that also available in English. But of course, you can also create that in your very own language and give it out to partners to have a summary of what's going on with the Wikipedia library. Yeah, so this is what we are doing at Wikimedia Deutschland to support the work of Foundation on the Wikipedia library. And I think it's great collaboration since 2.5 years. And it's a real win-win-win situation for them, for us, for community. I think also for the partners, because they get cited on Wikipedia. And yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope you're a bit inspired to do that, not only for yourself, but also for your community. If you have questions on that part, ask me. General part, ask us. I think we are now open for questions. You can use the microphone over there, or I'll come to you and hand over the mic.
Thank you. A question about the languages of those resources that are available. Are most of them English resources? As we know, Wikipedia and Wikimedia projects have many various languages, and we want to make resources available to those which are underrepresented languages. As any of then going forward, will there be prioritizing, languages which are, underrepresented?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was sort of thinking about jumping in at the end of Martin's section to say effectively this, which is, it is very English dominated. That's kind of a unfortunate consequence of it. Of it primarily being built by us being English speakers, many of the sort of these huge publishers and aggregators being predominantly English speaking. But we do want to open access to more content to other languages. The struggle that we have is that we need people like Martin in those languages to really help us out, right? Because we don't know which publishers are reliable in your communities, which newspapers might be paywalled, which are the newspapers of note, how to engage with that community best. And so we're really always looking out for opportunities like this, to have those local connections and really find folks who are happy to help us broaden the library in those languages. Because, when we as the foundation, the handful of us sort of bumble around these languages and communities trying to figure out what is the reliable source, it can be a real struggle to figure that out. So yes, definitely want to make the languages more diverse, but we need help.
Yeah, we definitely want to sell the model of collaboration here, and it can be on a low level as shown on the first step, or it can be really intense. It really depends on your time, activities, and maybe how partners react. So maybe in your country, partners are very open. Other places, it's not that way. That's something you have to experience. And we also have experiences of rejection, of course. Whatever is faster.
Mic race.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam, and thanks, Martin. I'm Sudhanshu, and I'm designer at Foundation. I'm just wondering, is that notification is the only way for somebody to know about it, that you're now eligible for it? Mm-hmm. Or are there any other ways also in which the editors would get to know about that they can access the service now?
Yeah, that's the primary way, but I would love to let editors know further in advance. Something I've been bugging Kirsten about on the growth team is like whether we could include something maybe on the newcomer homepage, so that new editors can see that, oh, I'm this many edits away from getting access to the library, because when we've told newcomers about the library, or when they learn about it, when non-editors learn about it, that's a real motivation actually to edit Wikipedia. Is like, wow, there's all that content I can get access to. If only I made 500 edits to Wikipedia. Like, there's not many programs we run that sort of encourage someone to make that many edits. So I would love to let more editors know about it earlier on, because I think I've seen comments from people say like, wow, I was surprised. I hit this threshold and here it is, and I knew nothing about it beforehand. So yeah, I'd love to figure out ways to let more editors know earlier.
Of course, with the newsletter, the things we do, like our German signpost and going to a wiki convention, German wiki convention, and talking about that, we also reach people who are under this 500 edits threshold, etc. And we really try to spread the word as much as possible so that people are really aware of that. And although this notification appeared to those who had gotten access long before, who were much longer on the projects, they might have overlooked this, weren't even aware of what is the Wikipedia library. That's something helpful, and from what I can see, it is helpful. And what we hear, so for us at Wikimedia Deutschland, this is really a winning situation. We get so much good feedback on that, for all the support we do for this, and it's, to be honest, pretty easy to do at least the first steps of translations and communication that I can really only recommend you to give it a try.
Just to really endorse everything you've been saying, I found the library a fantastic resource for what I've been doing. But I live in Portugal. I work producing articles about Portuguese people for Wikipedia, and I'm increasingly running up against firewalls of Portuguese newspapers. So you've come to the conclusion that the local communities have to work to solve this, and I would certainly endorse that.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, please let us know which publishers you're running up against, because those can be added to the, granted, very long list, but we can slot them in there and try and do some work. We've been trying to, at least even if it is us, we don't have a local partner, at least trying to find like one or two priorities from some of these communities. The Dutch Wikipedia recently wrote, I say recently, maybe last year, wrote kind of a list of their requests, and it was a pretty long list, but we managed to get access to one or two of those for them, so I was quite pleased about that.
Of course, it makes sense that the foundation focuses on the multidisciplinary, international, maybe English-focused partners, because they give access to most people there, so the majority. But if you work for your own community, you know that also getting access, like 5 accesses to a small partner, some of the stuff we got can make a change on that local wiki project and can really be helpful. But it can't be, you saw the list of suggestions. We have to work together on that.
Yeah, quickly, last question, because we're running out of time.
So I want to thank you for the great presentation today. My question is that, is there any risk that the cooperation between you and the publishers will ever put into hold? And I would love to see if the cooperation is permanent or temporary. What's your take on that?
Yeah, great question. Actually, Vipin, our partnerships manager, should be on the call somewhere. I don't know if you want to take that, Vipin. Might be a disembodied voice in the room.
Yeah, Sam, could you repeat that question for me? Did he mention cooperation?
Yeah, this is about whether any of these partnerships come to an end and maybe why, or if they're always indefinitely running.
Yeah, well, we haven't had many instances where the partner wanted to stop the relationship or the partnership. You know, once we start working with them, they would like to continue and they see results in what we do together. But there have been instances where the contact that we had at the partner's organization is no longer working there. So sometimes that creates a block in the flow of things. That has happened, but you know, we haven't, at least in the recent past, we haven't had any instance where the partner wanted to stop working with us. That has not happened.
Yeah, so exactly, for Vipin's benefit, someone said, what about Rock's back pages? Yeah, there are partners like that where we've either lost contact with them or for whatever reason, some technical issue has come up and they sort of ghost us, right? And so there's only so much we can do. We try to flag it on the library that there's a problem. And for those partnerships that we already had that have expired or something's gone wrong with it, that is like top of our priority list. Like we are constantly bugging those people. And unfortunately, we can only do so much if they ignore us.
And so keeping a relationship with the partners is important. And I think it's something we could give to the foundation. We were first at Frankfurt Book Fair and convinced them to go to book fairs themselves. And at Frankfurt Book Fair, we were invited to Saudi Arabian book fairs. So it's really, there are many book fairs, right? Keep track with your partners. Contact.
We should wrap up because I think we're slightly over time, but thank you all for coming. Please check out the library. Let us know what publishers you want to see added to it. If you have any questions, the email was on the slide, and I'll be around and happy to chat. But thanks for coming, and thanks Vipin for joining us. Thank you for joining.